from Southern Maryland's weather leader. This is a JB Weather Alert.
Hello and good evening, everyone. I'm Forecaster John Bordash with you here still in the storm center this evening, continuing to track the potential for severe weather across our region. The one storm we've been watching here over the last half hour to 45 minutes continues to strengthen and continues to move here towards the east. As a result, we do now have a brand new severe thunderstorm warning in effect for southern parts of Prince George's County, southern parts of Anne Arundel County, northern and central portions of Calvert County, northernmost St. Mary's County, and northern parts of Charles County as this storm continues here to race towards the east. Everywhere in that orange shaded polygon is going to be under the risk of this storm that is producing frequent lightning, producing wind gusts upwards of 70 miles an hour, and hail that could be up to the size of 1.5 inches in diameter. The latest warning text from the National Weather Service on this storm highlights the severe thunderstorm warning until 5:15. At 4:34, a severe thunderstorm was located over Fort Belvoir and moving to the east at 45 miles per hour. The main hazards here, again, are those 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts and hail potentially up to the size of ping pong balls. We're going to be watching this with damaging winds that will be causing some damage to trees and large branches, and that could cause those to fall. This could injure those outdoors as well as damage homes and vehicles. Roadways may become blocked by downed trees. Localized power outages are possible, and unsecured light objects may become projectiles in a situation like this. So locations impacted include but are not limited to. So if you hear a town name that you live in or that's maybe 5 miles away, take this seriously. If you don't hear your town name or the nearest town name is over 5 miles away from you, this probably won't affect you. So before the questions come in, this is not going to impact southern Calvert County, south of St. Leonard. This will not impact the majority of St. Mary's County and will not impact southern parts of Charles County. Because I'm sure we're going to have a lot of those comments coming in here in just a second. But locations impacted by this storm include but are not limited to Waldorf, Clinton, Fort Washington, Forestville, La Plata, Mayo, Shadyside, Chesapeake Beach, Deal, National Harbor, Prince Frederick, Upper Marlboro, Howling Point, Breezy Point, Road River, Andrews Air Force Base, Camp Springs, Oxon Hill, Walker Mill, and Rosaryville. So for your protection, you're going to want to move to an interior room on the lowest floor of a building, a substantial building, as the storm moves on through. And you can see just how strong it is. We're, again, measuring some pretty hefty wind gusts with this storm. I want to go ahead and get our velocity mode loaded up with this storm. What we're going to be able to note here is that we're seeing these winds gusting. Actually, I need to come back over here. We're seeing these winds gust upwards of 60 to 70 miles an hour. The worst of this storm right now is passing through Piscataway, just to the north of Bentonville, just north of Waldorf here. You can see these wind gusts upwards of 66, 70 miles an hour here through Piscataway. So Brandywine, you're going to be up next to see some of the worst weather from this storm as it continues to race here towards the east. The area I would really be highlighting to see the worst parts of this storm are going to be here from Waldorf to Huntingtown. So that's your southern base. So let me go ahead and get our drawing tool here. So this is probably going to be the southernmost extent of the worst of this storm. And the northernmost extent is going to be right through here. This is the area we've kind of been highlighting as the storm continues to work here towards the east. So Upper Marlboro, Rosaryville, Brandywine, Baden, Lothian, Shadyside, Tracy's Landing, Fairhaven, Deal, Dunkirk, Owings, Cheneyville, Lower Marlboro, Huntingtown, Willows, and the Beaches. This is going to be here over the next half an hour to 45 minutes. You're going to want to stay aware with this storm as it races here towards the east. We do have some early signs of rotation. I'm not overly concerned with it at the moment, but it is something I'm watching. We're going to see if it's going to continue to want to rotate. We don't have the best atmospheric conditions to support rotating storms today. The main threat will be these gusty winds. With that said, though, we will be watching that potential. We could see additional storms develop as well, which I want you to notice, which is a really fine detail with this storm. If you look closely, you can see this little tail here. I'm outlining it right now in the southern part of this storm. That's the outflow boundary. That's where winds are pushing outwards from the storm, and that can oftentimes lead to additional storm development along that outflow boundary as it pushes out from where the storm just was. So we're going to watch the potential for additional storms to develop behind this and just south of this as it continues to push here to the east. So while areas near Fredericksburg and the Northern Neck and Southern Cowart, St. Mary's, Southern Charles counties aren't under the direct threat right now of storms, we could see additional storms develop as this continues to push here towards the east. What I want to do is take a look at some of the traffic cameras we have out and about. Let's come on over here. Our Oxon Hill camera actually just a little bit ago was giving us a really good sign. Well, this is a good sign. This is what you can expect as the storm moves through. This is Oxon Hill, Maryland 210, just south of I-95 and 495. You can see near whiteout and blinding conditions from this rain. We have another camera here that was really all these cameras here really kind of showing what you can expect as these storms move through. So if you have any travel plans that take you on 301 or Route 4 or Route 2 from Waldorf to Huntingtown Points North on those roads, this is what you can expect here over the next half hour, 45 minutes. So I would really kind of go against people trying to travel right now. And this camera actually a little bit ago was showing these branches going a little crazy. These Brandywine cameras are probably going to be some of the best ones here in a little bit to show us what we're looking at in terms of these storms pushing on in. But again, we are looking at some pretty gnarly weather coming on through the region as these continue to push here towards the east. And the worst of this, again, if we zoom on in, it's going to be, we really zoomed in there, from Waldorf to Brandywine up here towards Rosaryville. So 301 is right on the doorstep of this. And we're even measuring a decent amount of hail with this storm as well. Let me go ahead and get our hail estimator loaded up here and give that a chance to come together. We'll see if it wants to. It might not. Yeah, it looks like we're being a little finicky with me today. What I do want to do, though, because that is a pretty big part of this storm, I want to come on over to a different one of our radar tools here. Let's bring it on over here. So this is going to be still looking at the same storm. I actually have a new damage report, reports of trees and power lines down and on the corner of Roses and Dumfries Road here in the Piscataway area. And we have several reports out here towards Virginia of trees down in Lake Ridge on over towards Prince William County, reports of hail upwards of an inch or so. If we take a look at the current estimated hail size, this orange color here represents that 1-inch size hail. Yellow is up over 3/4 of an inch, so getting close to quarter size. And the hail history with this, where you see these oranges, indicates hail upwards over 1 inch in diameter, coming here just off the West Springfield, just off the DC, really coming in here to southwestern parts of PG County. So if you follow this through, this will be moving just south of Upper Marlboro, right towards Tracy's Landing, Dunkirk, Lower Marlboro, Chesapeake Beach here over the next little bit as these storms continue here to race towards the east. But zooming out, that really is one of the only games in town. We have additional storms in southern Pennsylvania. Those likely won't impact our region. The only additional chance we have to see storms to develop would be on the southern edge of this line where we're beginning to see that outflow boundary push out. That's what we were just talking about just a moment ago. So we do have additional storm development towards parts of Fauquier and Prince William counties. Granted, at this moment, these storms aren't severe. This is really the only game in town that's going to be pushing through northern portions of our coverage zone. We have plenty of lightning right now on over towards Waldorf, towards Brandywine, towards Piscataway. So any interest here towards Waldorf along 301, heading on over here towards Eagle Harbor, Lower Marlboro, Huntingtown, Cheneyville, Dunkirk, Bristol here over the next little bit, that's going to be impacting it. Let's go ahead and try to get a storm track loaded up on this storm. We know that we're pushing this storm eastward at about 45 miles per hour. So this would be a general look at that storm timing for you. So moving into Dunkirk by about 4:59. So you have about 10 minutes or so to get inside. You don't need to be taking those tornado safety precautions, but I would definitely get inside away from windows in any of these locations. So Dunkirk in about the next 10 minutes. Same story for Lower Marlborough and Cheneyville about the next 10 minutes or so. Pushing here towards Shadyside and Sunderland as we head on over towards 5:05, getting close to Huntingtown by 5:07, the Beaches by 5:08, and then moving on over towards the Eastern Shore after that point. But we are still continuing to measure some pretty gnarly wind gusts with this. Radar continues to estimate, I think I just saw, a 70-mile-an-hour wind gust here moving right through the Brandywine area. So I want to see if those traffic cameras now are starting to give us a better look at this storm. Oh yeah, let me bring you full screen over here. This would be 301 at 5 South. This is right in the middle of that storm. You can see where you can almost make out those waves of rain pushing on through, that heavy rain, just that blinding rain that you're going to struggle to see much out of, continuing to push on through. And it might have knocked out this other camera. I'm going to see if it did. It might have. But even up here, let's take a look up towards the north, see if any of these cameras can get a good look at what's going on. Like a better look than that. This would be a good look here for you. You can, again, just see where you're looking at reduced visibility from the heavy rain from these storms as they continue to push here towards the east. So let's come back over here towards radar right now. Again, we're continuing to track this potential for 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts plus with this, so we could even see some wind gusts getting upwards of 75 miles an hour if these storms continue to strengthen at the rate that they have been. And the worst of it, really coming here through Brandywine. Now, just to the south of this storm, La Plata, Hughesville, you probably won't get in on the worst of this, but you're probably hearing plenty of thunder off in the distance. You might be seeing some lightning strikes. And we're really going to watch. You can see where that outflow boundary is. It's very faint, but it's very important to note right here. And if I were to put radar into motion here over the last hour, you can see how that outflow boundary is pushing to the south, this faint line pushing south. That's going to try to kick off some additional storm development as we see the greatest atmospheric forcing push east. That might allow for some additional storms to kick off as everything pushes here to the east. So let's go ahead and clear that off. But radar is really starting to indicate that potential for hail, maybe now getting up towards about 2 inches in diameter. I want to see if we can't just get our hail estimator working. If not, we'll just give this program a reboot because I really would be interested to see what we're looking at there. So let's go ahead and just give that a reboot. Bring that back up here in just a second. But look, in the meantime, we can take a look at these damage reports. Again, out here towards Manassas, several reports of trees down, and some pretty large branches down as well. And then hail getting upwards of 1 inch in size here towards portions of Fairfax County, and then on over towards Alexandria, Virginia. The storm, again, doesn't appear to have a whole bunch of rotation with it, which is good news. That tornado threat remains low with it. We'll continue to watch and see if that materializes at all, though. But coming back over here, this would be our program here, estimating when hail upwards of 2 inches in diameter. This is moving just moved through Brandywine, about to move through the Baden area. This is going to be coming right through Dunkirk, Cheneyville, Lower Marlborough, Sunderland, and the Beaches. This is going to be the worst part of this storm here. So this is going to be rocking northern parts of Calvert County, southern parts of Anne Arundel County here over the next half hour or so. So let me go ahead, bring us back over towards normal looking radar. And you can see where we have probed some of those biggest hailstones. That's where we're looking at some of the heaviest rain right now, and that is not a coincidence. So let's go ahead. I want to get a new storm track loaded up on this. I want to go ahead and time this out and get this posted over towards our social media accounts. We noted about 36. Let's get a update. All right, let's get our warning box loaded here as well. All right, so let's go ahead and get that posted up. We'll come back here live into radar and take a look at what's going on. The National Weather Service did update our severe thunderstorm warning, so we will touch on that here in just 1 second. But I do want to reiterate, this is, again, one of the only storms that have been able to actually fire today, which is just interesting within itself. But that means that it has all of the atmospheric dynamics to itself to utilize. So it's not having to compete with other storms to access the heating and the humidity. Ward wants to know when it's going to be in Indian Head. This is pretty much past to your east. We can see this here in Prince George's County. Granted, you might have additional rounds of heavier rain pushing through here over the next little bit. So let's take a look at this again. We have the updated text for the severe thunderstorm warning reads that we're going to continue this until 5:15 for this orange shaded area. This goes south of Prince Frederick, but that might be a little bit too much. I really think the worst of this is going to be staying north of Prince Frederick. But we're continuing to monitor that threat for 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts and ping pong ball size hail. So locations impacted include but are not limited to this. Actually, I think might be a little old at this point because it's still referencing Waldorf, and Waldorf is no longer located in the severe thunderstorm warning. But you can see the general timing here. We are highlighting that this is going to be moving here right into Dunkirk just about now. We just got a new radar scan, and so let's get that cleared off. I actually want to come here into sensitive mode. This is going to allow us to really kind of see what's going on with this storm. Yeah, so here's the worst of this, and let me get, there we go. So that would be our naming tool. So some of this worst weather is going to be going right up here along Ferry Landing Road as it continues to race here towards the east. Okay. Just going through some of our updates here. Route 4 really is going to be under the gun here. So north of the 2-4 split, this is going to be some of the worst weather with this storm moving right through Dunkirk, Cheneyville, and then heading on over towards Owings. Northern parts of Dunkirk here are already seeing some of the craziest weather where 260 and 4 come together or split apart, however you want to view that. This is also coming right here into Bristol and Tracy's Landing. So really, any interest along Route 4, you're going to have a tough go with things. And then this is going to be pushing towards Owings, Sunderland, and then the beaches here over the next little bit. And then we're looking at a lot of lightning out ahead of this storm as well through Huntingtown. But we have a secondary area of some heavier rain that's getting ready to cross over 382. This will be moving here right towards Holland Cliffs Road and Kings Landing Road in Huntingtown here over the next 15 minutes or so. But outside of this, again, we're going to continue to watch these storms out here that are trying to develop in the wake of this. They're pushing through Dale City, Mount Vernon. So heads up here on Indian Head, Bryan's Road, Pittsca, and down towards Nanjemoyne as well. We'll see if these try to develop. But as things stand right now, this is pretty much the only game we have in town as it's pushing here right into northern parts of Calvert County. This is not impacting Lexington Park, and Lexington Park at the moment has nothing to worry about. Everything is to the north of you. Let's see. Aaron is saying that it just passed through Fort Washington. Crazy rain, wind, and the hail. And that is one thing we're watching with this storm. It's just the immense amount of hail that it is producing right now. We have several reports of hail with this storm. And this hail reader still doesn't want to work with me that well. So let's come back over here. We can see this little green triangle represents hail upwards of 1 inch in diameter. We're seeing hail potentially getting up towards 1.5 inches. This is about to really come in here through Lower Marlborough, Huntingtown, Lower Marlborough, Dunkirk, and Cheneyville. Let's kind of switch gears here. We have several different radar programs we can use. Let's come in here. This one really allows us to get in here, and this should be able to show us that hail core that we've been worried about. Yeah, so this pink, this pink ball here, this would be indicative of hail getting up over 2 inches, potentially getting near 3 inches. This is going to be coming here right into Lower Marlborough, Cheneyville, and right at that 2-4 split here in Sunderland. So if you're in that region, right where 2 and 4 come together, I believe there's a couple churches right there. be aware of this. This is not just going to produce heavy rain and gusty winds, which alone would be impactful, but we could be looking at some pretty decently sized hail pushing on through as well. The worst of this should stay just north of Huntingtown. The worst of the hail, but in Huntingtown, you're still going to get some of that heavy rain, and it looks like that heavy rain has now indeed arrived here into Dunkirk and on over towards Cheneyville and Owings. So let's bring it back on over here. Let's take a look at the live radar again. Yeah, you can just see we're starting to get some of those brighter pinks in here. So again, along Route 4 here on over towards Ward Road, Ferry's Landing Road, Howes Road, Jones Road, Landing Road, Baker Street, and Mount Harmony Road. Those are going to be some of the worst impacted locations with this storm. Now, as you head down here towards Huntingtown, you're going to be seeing some heavy rain here in just a second. I do want to take a look back at that velocity. Actually, it looks like our little hill tool wants to work, and yeah, it still shows that we're looking at some of that biggest hail right now. We'll see what kind of winds we're picking up with here. Let's come over here. Let's take a look at velocity mode. Yeah, we're still estimating winds getting up towards about 60 miles an hour or so with this. So maybe not as strong as it was where we were looking at 70 mile an hour wind gusts, but I mean, we're still talking 62, 63 mile an hour wind gusts with this storm. So it's going to be causing a decent amount of damage and impact. So again, we're really highlighting Huntingtown to Willows and then points north here towards Cheneyville. We're getting some updates in from the National Weather Service. It looks like they might be trailing back that severe thunderstorm warning just a bit, and they have. So if I come on over here, the severe thunderstorm warning is still in effect for much of our region, actually our entire coverage zone. But Caroline County in Virginia has been taken out of it. So this was the size of the severe thunderstorm watch down here towards Richmond. They've been taken out of this. And honestly, I would say that much of this could probably get canceled outside of Southern Maryland, because this, as we've been saying, is literally the only storm we have going on right now. And this is just the hail history with it from when it formed. These areas here shaded in orange that would be representative of where hail over 1 inch has fallen, and you can see how that tracked here from Manassas. Let's get the storm reports off. It tracked here from Manassas right here through southern parts of Fairfax County into PG County, and now it's moving here right into northern parts of Calvert County. Let's see, Brandy's saying that the hail has just started in Huntingtown. Let's see, Romano, nothing here in Prince Frederick. And yeah, the worst of this should stay just here north there in Prince Frederick. Let me come over here. Yeah, Prince Frederick. This might clip you if you're maybe closer towards the hospital in Prince Frederick, but much of this should stay to your north. We're really talking Huntingtown, Sunderland, Cheneyville, Dunkirk, and the beaches with this storm. And we are getting some decent photos in from some of our weather watchers. So this would be a video that just got tweeted to me on Twitter. This is from Virginia as this storm pushed through, but what you can see here is going to be the heavy rains. You can see the little bit of hail there with this too as the storm pushed on through. I believe this was sent in from Jose Garcia, yep, over there in Manassas as the storm pushed in about an hour ago or so. I do want to see what cameras we might be able to use here for it. This Chesapeake Beach one probably isn't the best to see what's going on. Yeah, we're not. I guess that's the struggle here of being in Southern Maryland. Just the lack of tools we have to really kind of dive into these storms. Let's see what some of these comments are. I just saw something about Lexington Park. This is north of you. Let's see, it came through Waldorf. There was sudden hail and high winds. And yeah, let me put this back into motion here. And you can see how this storm has just kind of raced out here. Let me take this over the last hour and a half. That'll allow you to kind of see where we were. This was just a small little storm. And then that severe thunderstorm watch got issued there in yellow. And we saw this storm really peak up here over Manassas. and it really just kind of rocked through Waldorf with heavy rain and a little bit of hail as well. And that is now here really moving into parts of Calvert County, um, really Huntingtown points north. So this entire drive here along Route 4 is going to be pretty nasty. Route 2 as well. So once you get south of Annapolis, once you're headed down past Harwood there, so past Southern High School, down past Mitchellville, down 301, down towards Upper Marlboro, Lothian, Shadyside, down there towards Tracy's Landing, on over here towards Deal, Fairhaven, Rosehaven, Friendship, Owings, and Cheneyville, Sunderland, Dunkirk, Huntington, and Lower Marlboro. Those are going to be the locations where you're seeing the worst weather, and this is right now moving into North Beach. It's about to move here into Chesapeake Beach or Randall Cliff Beach. Willows, you're probably seeing those skies get dark as these storms push in. Prince Frederick, Dares Beach, you might get some sprinkles, but the worst of this should stay to the north of you. And that continues to be the only game in town. The storms behind it aren't that impressive, and we don't have additional storms developing like we might have feared they would. You can kind of see how they developed as this storm pushed through, but then they kind of fizzled out a little bit here. They're still there, but they're not strengthening, which is good news. But the worst of this storm, that hail core, it looks like it's probably going to be right over Cheneyville right now. See if you can get this loaded on up. Oh, actually, the worst of this is going to be right over Huntingtown. Estimating 3-inch size hail, I don't think that's going to be too accurate. They might be overdoing it, but 1 to 2-inch size hail. This deepest color here pushing right over Route 4. This will be moving right into Randall Cliff Beach and on over towards Willows here as it continues here to move towards the east. I want to see if our other products are also showing that. Yeah, that size hail. Let's come over here. Again, it's that pink ball right here. This is where you're talking about hail upwards, potentially near 2 inches in diameter. This is getting ready to move right here on over towards Randall Cliff Beach and Willows as it continues to race here towards the east. We actually now have a report of 1-inch size hail coming in from North Beach, right up here off of 260, coming here off of Owings and Mount Harmony. So come over here. Let's see if we can't put this into motion. You can really see where the worst of this storm is, and it's just about reached the bay, which is good news. So Lower Marlboro, you're now in the clear just about. It's probably still raining for some of you, but the worst of this storm is now to your east. The worst of it's really right up along Route 4 right now. Huntingtown, you should see some clearing in about the next 15 or 20 minutes. And we actually just got a new update to the severe thunderstorm warning here, taking out some of our westernmost zones. This will remain in effect till 5:15 though for southeastern Anne Arundel County and northern parts of Calvert County. The latest update says that at 5:08, a severe thunderstorm was located near Dunkirk or near Chesapeake Beach, moving east at 45 miles an hour. The main hazards continue to be 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts and ping-pong ball-sized hail. Damaging winds will cause some trees and large branches to fall. This could enter those outdoors as well as damage homes and vehicles. Roadways may become blocked by downed trees. Localized power outages are also going to be possible. Unsecured light objects may become projectiles with this type of a storm. So some locations impacted include but are not limited to Mayo, Shadyside, Chesapeake Beach, Deal, just north of Prince Frederick, near Breezy Point, Road River, Dunkirk, Huntingtown, Owings, Galesville, Friendship, Eagle Harbor, Lower Marlboro. Some of these southern Calvert County town names are popping up, but I'm not too concerned. So St. Leonard, I'm not too concerned for you. Really south of Prince Frederick, south of 231 here, the Benedict Bridge, I'm really not concerned about you at all. Even much of Prince Frederick, you're fine south of Calvert Memorial Hospital there. But let's come back over here towards radar. Let's see some of these comments again. See what is picking up like crazy in Mechanicsville, a little closer to Charlotte Hall. And yeah, that would actually be because of what we would call the outflow boundary here. So you can see how this little tail kind of developed here on the southern part of the storm. That would be the cold air trying to rush out ahead. So that would be that those gusty winds, this will continue to move to the south. So you're probably going to see a gust of wind push through like Lusby, Leonardtown, Cobb Island here over the next couple of minutes. This might try to kick off additional storm development, but it has yet to do so, which is good news. But we'll watch it. See Hamlin Owings off of Fowler Road, high winds in Hamlin Dunkirk, thunder in the Chesapeake Beach area. Lightning down towards Lusby. I do believe that. I'm sure you're seeing a lot of this lightning from up in the Huntingtown area. Let's just see the bottom and pass through Hughesville with some mean-looking clouds. Yeah, and Laura's saying how intense this is, and it really is kind of focusing here from really like Tracy's Landing, Bristol, down towards like Huntingtown. It's really this kind of chunk through here, and the worst of it right now is moving here into the beaches and right through the heart of Huntingtown, getting right towards Willows right now. So yeah, we'll continue to watch this. It looks like we have a new severe thunderstorm warning out ahead of this storm for parts of Dorchester and Wicomico counties on the eastern shore. So we're gonna keep that in mind. This storm will continue to move across the bay, and I believe there's a special marine warning in effect for this. Let's see, that goes until 6 o'clock. So this would be from up here near Annapolis down towards Drum Point. Just a larger area to warn people, but it's really going to be here off of the coast of Prince Frederick and off of the beaches. And I do see my friend Andrew just let me know some pretty large hail. He's over towards the beaches in Chesapeake Beach, and we did just get that report of 1-inch size hail on over towards Chesapeake Beach. So that's not overly surprising with this. Let me come back in here. The hail core, the worst of it, is right over Willows right now. And what's allowing for this hail to really become as large as it is for some of you is because we have a lot of upward motion today. The way that hail forms, and this gets a little technical, but I think when people learn this, they get really fascinated, right? So you have clouds, and precipitation always starts to snow. Even on 100-degree days, it always starts to snow in the upper levels of the atmosphere. And once you get above freezing, it then transitions over into rain. And on warm days, that freezing line is really high up. Today, we have a lot of upward motion. So we have winds that are literally pushing upwards, and they're circulating around. That's what allows thunderstorms to become so tall. When those updrafts can get strong enough, it can take those raindrops or snowflakes that are falling and fling them back in circular motion. So it'll take that raindrop that falls out of the cloud base down, fling it back up above freezing. It will freeze into an ice ball, come back down, and then it will continue to do that until it becomes so heavy that that gravity will overpower that updraft. That gets a little technical, I know, but today we have a lot of upward motion, so that's allowing for these hail balls, or the hailstones, to become pretty big, 1 to 2 inches in size before they finally break out of that. On most summer days, our updrafts aren't that strong, so you can get pea-sized hail, and the updrafts don't need to be overly strong to help produce that on a summer-like day. And we have colder air moving in overhead, which is also allowing us to enhance the size of hail. So with that in mind, I know that gets a little technical. We're tossing the hail around. It's becoming large enough, and it's falling here. And the worst of it right now is over Willows. The good news is that this is about to push out over the open waters of the bay. So let me come back over here. Our severe thunderstorm warning has been allowed to get canceled for our region. Right now, the severe thunderstorm watch continues until 9. The worst of this storm is right along the Calvert coastline from the beaches down here towards Willows and Dares Beach. Dunkirk, you're clearing out. Cheneyville, you're clearing out. Lower Marlboro, you're clear. Eagle Harbor, you're clear. Lots of lightning remains with this storm, though. So if you're within like a 50-mile radius of the storm, you're probably hearing a lot of stuff going on. And yeah, we're now pushing this storm slowly offshore. Chesapeake Beach, the worst has passed through you. Willows, it's right over you. This is about to move into Dares Beach. We have these additional pockets of rain back to the west, but this isn't severe at the moment. This will just bring around a heavy rain and maybe 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts with this. But the worst of this is now pushing here over Willows, north of Dares Beach. Let me come back over here, see what our hail tracker is showing. Yeah, it's still kind of pinpointing that right over the Willows area. Yeah, Lenore, I'm telling you, hail is interesting, especially in the summer because it's such a weird phenomenon. People are always very curious on how it happens, and typically, we can really see this today. We have lots of lightning with this storm, and typically, with the way that we need lightning charges to align in the upper parts of the atmosphere, we need positive and negative charges, the hail can help to render those charges, which can increase the amounts of lightning. So typically, where you get a lot of upward motion, forcing all of that hail upwards, that's where you can get those positive charges, and that can lead to lightning. So typically, lots of hail can lead to lots of lightning and vice versa, and we have some research coming out now because you have that upward motion that typically can also lead to rotation. So typically where you get lots of lightning, you can also see a little bit of rotation. Not the case today, but that's the way that these things do tend to work on out. Yeah, North Beach just got slammed with hail. I've gotten lots of reports of hail here from the beaches in the last little bit. Lots of wind off of 231, hail in Huntingtown. Yeah, and the good news is the hail core here is about ready to push offshore, which is good news. And then this really becomes the last game in town. You see, again, our little tail here, that would be our outflow boundary. That's going to enhance the potential for some wind. So that'll push through much of our region. So again, southern Calvert County, southern St. Mary's. You're not going to see rain immediately. You will see the gusty winds, though. And that might help to enhance these little storms back here. They're not really even storms, they're just heavier showers at the moment, moving through Clinton, getting in towards the Waldorf area. We'll see if these can strengthen. My assumption is that this probably won't become severe behind our main storm because it's pretty much eaten up a lot of those severe parameters. But we'll continue to watch it, and it does look like this is now just about pushed on offshore. So it's been a fun 38 minutes tracking this as this storm really kind of just popped up, developed, and raced through the area with a decent amount of hail in that hail track. I do want to see how radar is depicting that hail track with this storm. Let's do over the last hour. Yeah, you can see where you get those oranges, that's hail up over 1 inch. That really, you can see that track here right through southern PG, northern parts of Calvert County. But we'll continue to watch this. This might be the only storm of the evening for our region, but that severe thunderstorm warning does remain, or severe thunderstorm watch rather, remains in effect till 9 o'clock. So stay weather aware. I'll be here in the storm center for a little bit longer, continuing to track everything for you. But until next time, I'm Forecaster John Bordash. Thank you for joining me right now, and have a nice and safe one. And again, keep it tuned right here to JB Weather for the latest information.
Check the forecast anytime online at jbweather.net.